Hello guys, welcome back to me, Ariki, from the new segment of Severe Podcast, Podcast Horror. Last week we talked about the Amityville house, the most haunted house in America, and today we want to talk about the most haunted house in the UK, the Amityville's UK, or British would like to say the British version of Amityville. So, what are you waiting for? Just get to the list. This is the real life of the Enfield poltergeist inside the real story that inspired The Conjuring 2. It was once known as the House of the Strange Happenings, and now it's coming to the big screen. Yep, it's The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 focuses on one of the most famous supernatural cases in history, the Enfield poltergeist. The story of a young girl thought to be possessed by a demon inside her London home mystified a nation. The cases involved strange voices, levitations, flying objects, furniture being moved through the air, cold breezes, and more. And while some call it a hoax, others considered it to be one of the most witnessed cases of supernatural activities to date. So, what really happened during the case of the Enfield poltergeist? Here's an inside look at the real story inspiring The Conjuring 2. It all started in a quaint little home in Enfield, London in 1977, when Peggy Hodson, a single mother of 4 children, heard loud noises coming from her daughter's bedroom. When she went to tell her daughters Margaret, 12, and Janet, 11, to settle down and go to sleep instead of roughhousing, she found them huddled in the corner with terrified expressions on their faces. "We," told our mom, "the chest of drawers was moving towards the bedroom door," Janet recalled while speaking on ITV in 2012. She said, "Oh, don't be silly. It was on TV at that time, so who knows?" But Peggy then witnessed the drawers moving herself in the direction of the door by a seemingly invisible force, almost as if some supernatural presence was trying to trap the girls in the room. And when she went to try and push back against the dresser, it wouldn't budge. Terrified, the Hodson family ran across the street to ask for help from the neighbors. Vic and Peggy not home. When Vic went into the house to investigate, he too said he heard strange noises coming from around the house. In the film, we can hear the noises. Oh shit! What happened? Sorry. In the film, it was heard from the back of the wall, but this is the real story. The Hodson called the police, and even though one officer claimed to have seen a chair move clear across the room, they deduced that it was not a police matter, it's the supernatural matter. Yes. So, according to the family, that was just the beginning of what would become their nearly 18-month haunting. We didn't understand what was happening. Margaret told people at the Conjuring 2 premiere in Los Angeles. We went through periods where we just couldn't believe what happened really. It's frightening. We didn't like to be on your own in the house or anything. It was what Margaret said to the interviewer. When the strange incident continued, Peggy decided to call a popular UK publications, yes, the Daily Mirror, to come and investigate the supposed supernatural occurrences. But when the reporter arrived, the house sat silent for hours. I wasn't until the reporter was about to leave that something happened. The photographer came back and a Lego brick hit him above the eye. He still had a mark a few days later, and then Maurice Ghost came in on the case. It was what Janet said, according to the Daily Mail. The Daily Mirror called the Society for Psychical Research, or RSPR, I don't know. But in the UK, I don't know, there is kind of these organizations, even though I've been living here for about 17 years, who sends ghosts to investigate a case. During his stay to the house, Gross has said he witnesses more than 200 different incidents of the supernatural activity. Furniture turning over, cups filled with water, fires igniting, voices, levitations, etc. Janet recalled of the time while speaking to ITV. The most frightening encounter was when a curtain wrapped itself around my neck, next to my bed. Wow. The curtain just like on the neck. It was like suicide, you know. If Janet died at that time, perhaps it's gonna be the suicide case, perhaps? Not the like possessed, you know, not the possessed case, but the suicide case, as the police use the logical thinking to handle this case. It was during his time in the house that the supposed poltergeist started speaking through Janet. So the ghost, the ghost who haunted the house, you know, speaking through Janet. So Janet's been possessed with that ghost. The young girl would often go into a trance-like state where she would speak in deep, scratchy voice, claiming to be the ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins. You know, we can say like in that film, in The Conjuring, Janet say, Bill, my name is Billy Wilkins. In that start, yes, you remember that. If you watched The Conjuring, you might be familiar with that section. Who had died in the house years before, in the corner, you know, in the sheet on the chair in the corner of that room. It was later proven that man by that name was once a resident of that home and did in fact die of a hemorrhage while sitting in the living room. The ghost would reportedly talk through Janet for hours at a time. You know, you can watch on the YouTube the ghost who just possessed Janet at that time. You know, there's a lot of research in YouTube if you want. Throughout the 18-month period, a number of additional paranormal researchers visited the house, including from demonologist Ed and Lauren Warren. He invited again the Ed and Lauren Warren, the most, I don't know how to express that, the most popular, the most famous, the couple of the paranormal activists, Ed and Lauren Warren, being invited to handle this case. So the film takes liberties with the time and the extent to which the Warrens were involved with the case. They publicly state that they were convinced that the supernatural was responsible for the strange happenings inside the house. Those who deal with the supernatural day in and day out know the phenomena are there. There's no doubt about it, as said according to the Fangoria. Of course, many cast their doubts on the events, claiming the children were behind the elaborate hoax and were faking the demonic symptoms. Two SPR experts adamantly questioned Janet's grave voice and later caught the children bending spoons themselves. If it's like, you know, pretending to be possessed, but it's not possessed that time, to avoid something big happen in the future. In fact, Janet admitted that she and her siblings fabricated a few events. Oh yeah, once or twice we fixed it, just to see if Mr. Gross and Mr. Playfair would catch us. They always did, she shared according to the DM. Later, she said about 2% of the events in the house were faked. Nearly 40 years later, Janet and Margaret say that while they've managed to move on from the traumatic time in their life, the haunting stays with you. It stays with you every step of the way. Margaret told the people, it's just like a death. Really, it gets a little bit easier as the time goes on, but the fear and the memories of it and what happened never leaves you. That's what the that's what the Janet said to the people. So we are in the ending of the video. So what do you think about this case, guys? Is this real or not? But I do believe this is real because I've been watching myself. I went to the Anfield to prove that the real haunted house in the UK is true. But when I came there, I feels like a different atmosphere, so I feels like something watching us from inside, but I don't have any privilege to go to outside, so that's why I just watch it from the outside, not in the inside. So, but I feel someone watching me inside the house. I feel so scary. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. If you really enjoy my podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and also, see you in the next week. Bye.